Good morning, everyone. It's Catherine from my hillside garden. Guess what? Today is a snow day. So I planned ahead. I always keep track of the weather, not just for my garden, but for preparing during the winter. So since I knew there was a snowstorm coming, I decided to hit Aldi's yesterday so that way I could can some mushrooms. At Aldi's yesterday, I picked up a whole case. That's 12 packages of 8-ounce cap mushrooms, and I want you to look very closely at that label. Grown in the mushroom state, Pennsylvania. Now, what I want you to do next time you go to the grocery store and you're shopping for mushrooms in cans, look and see where they're from. If it's important to you to shop local or to know where your food comes from, look at those cans. I'm sure you're going to be surprised. Even some of the very big name, as well as the store brand, also have mushrooms from out of this country. So, I've done a good deal of my initial prep work to get ready to start this venture. This is the first time I'll be canning mushrooms. I have all of my tools right there in that bucket. My half-pint jars are washed and they will go into the canner to get warm once I get to that point. I've cleaned off all of my countertops. There's my lifeblood, my coffee, so I got to get that finished. I'm done with the sink, but the sink has been cleaned, and I have a few things on the side in case I need them. I need to get this put away, but that's one of the things that I do is I set up, I get everything ready that's needed, and so that I know where it is. I have extra jars and the lids in the back to be sure. Here are my rings. I make sure I have the correct amount of everything before I start, so that way I don't have to go searching for it once I actually begin. One of the other things I also do to prepare is I go through my Bulb Blue Book Guide to Preserving, and I check to see what it is that I want to can, read the whole process to be sure that I understand what I need to do and have everything ready. And then I also make myself a note that I keep on the side just so I have a quick reference. I'm using half-pint jars. I need 1 inch of headspace. I'm using hot mushrooms, putting in hot water into hot jars. They'll process for 45 minutes. I have my vent start. I'll write the time there as well as set a timer, and I'll put the time end here. That way, in case the timer goes faulty on me or something happens, I know what time to look for. I do the same thing for processing start and end time. That way, just in case something should happen, I'll know when to turn that off. At this point, what I'm working on is I've put cold water in the sink. I opened up 6 containers of the mushrooms, swished it around, and then I pick up each mushroom and rub it with my hands, look for any super dirty spots, and if I need to, if I feel the bottom of the stem looks kind of yucky, I cut it off. But this is just from one rinse. Can you see all the dirt in there? And if you don't already know, mushrooms are grown in dirt. Just like most things are. So they are a very dirty produce product. So I'm going to get rid of the rest of these from the sink. I've been putting them in a colander in a bowl, and then I'm going to rinse them again, and I'll show you that water next. It's been about an hour since the opening shot. I just thought I'd take a picture of how much snow we've gotten. But if you turn your volume up, perhaps you could hear the snow. Or you might be hearing the airplane in the background. But I just thought it was really cool. You could hear the snow hitting the trees. Not too bad for a second rinse, so I'm going to go with the way they're cleaned. And I'm not using the broth that will be made from boiling them off for 5 minutes, so I'm not that worried about it. You could use the broth, but you'd have to strain it through at least several layers of cheesecloth, and perhaps a coffee filter would also work really well to get the dirt out of the broth. Just wanted you to see how beautiful they look cut up. They're gorgeous mushrooms. I'm glad I bought them. I made an executive decision. This is 6 of those containers of mushrooms, and my stock pot is just about full. So I've decided I'm only going to do 6 containers at a time, and this way, since it's the first time I'm doing it, I won't feel so fumbly. Most of the mushrooms that I did cut this time, excuse me, I did cut mostly large slices, even though you see toward the end I started to cut them in half and then cut them. So there's lots of big pieces in there, and out of those 6 containers, there was only one mushroom that I found when I cut it. I didn't like the way it looked inside, so of course that will go into the trash. This is a Presto 23 quart. I just wanted to state that for anyone who didn't watch my unboxing video. And with pressure canners, you only need 3 quarts of water in there. So I always am sure to keep a quart jar upstairs, and that way I know exactly where I want it to fill to. And let's see if we could see the lines in here. The 3 quart is right down there, and with 3 quarts of water, it will go to that line, and that way you're sure that you have the right amount of water in there.